Hi, Rich. Thanks so much for the time. Welcome to Milwaukee.
Thanks for the invitation to the Packer party.
You're very welcome. I didn't bring the pizza yet. I'm going to get that after we're off the air.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
cheese curds?
I was just going to say, how can you invite him to our Packers party, welcome him to our state, and not say, like, Rich, are you a cheese curd guy? Have you had him before? Do we got to bring you here to get you some? What's the deal?
That's true.
Come on. I spent 4 days there for the draft. How did I not have a cheese curd?
I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
So
all good, man. And boy, the party must be on right now there, huh? I mean,
yeah.
What a move.
Fair to say.
What a move.
I'm just going to give you the floor, Rich. The reaction for you is what?
Stunned. I thought the Cowboys would absolutely at some point just say, let's talk. Or, something would happen where Micah would stay. I mean, listen, there's only one other pass rusher in the history of the NFL to have at least a dozen sacks in the first 4 years of his career. And that guy also went from the NFC East to Green Bay. That's Reggie White. So you don't take somebody like that, certainly someone you draft, and send them packing at age 26, 6 days before the season or 1 week before the season. It doesn't really compute. I know Jerry Jones just said at his press conference that they like Kenny Clark, and they should. I mean, they've been having massive problems in the middle of their defensive line for a long time. And I just didn't think that they would try to solve that problem by acquiring a Pro Bowler by sending Micah Parsons away for 2 ones that, at the end of the day, the Cowboys would be lucky if those first-round picks were in the late teens of a draft order. So, it's a head-scratcher. There's always, as we say on my show, and if my show that is going to be new in some way, shape, or form to the listenership that we're talking with right now, you'll hear it over and over again if you're going to be new to the Rich Eisen show. But we always talk about in the NFL, there's an iceberg, and we just see the tip. This must have been one big fat iceberg beneath the surface in the Metroplex. There's always been rumors that there's been some gear grinding between Micah Parsons and people in the organization. His podcasting was definitely something that rankled, even though that is something that, again, is a 21st century, part and parcel aspect of having a star player with a personality and a desire to be out there. So I don't know what it was, but clearly the Cowboys lost trust with Micah Parsons, and whatever deal that Jerry had, handshake with him or not, was no longer on the table, and they were no longer comfortable going any higher. And so if that's the case, then I guess you pull the ripcord. You try to get as much as you can, and getting a player of Kenny Clark's ability back, I know is something that, the Cowboys could use, but at the expense of losing one of the best young pass rushers in the NFL, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, that is definitely going to be a head scratcher.
Rich, does it seem, you mentioned all the reasons why this could be the case, but does it seem like the Packers just didn't give up that much?
Well, I mean, Kenny Clark is a significant player, but it's not like the Packers the cupboard is bare. And it's 2 ones. I mean, it's 2 ones. Obviously, one of the biggest draft moments I've enjoyed, as a host of the draft on NFL Network since the mid-aughts, was this year's first-round draft choice cashed in by the Packers in front of the home folks with Mark Murphy.
Yeah, what a moment.
Talking about how, hey, for the first time in a long time, we're going to choose a wide receiver, and Matthew Golden definitely can have a big season for Green Bay. But, the future first-rounders that they're going to get, I would proffer to say Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur and the rest of the Packers front office would think that pick's going to be in the high 20s because this team's going to go deep. That this team's got some young players, and they've got a young quarterback who's really friggin' good. And Cowboys fans know how good Jordan Love can be because when Love went on that heater, he knocked the Cowboys out of the playoffs, definitively, I might add, as I'm sure everybody remembers. So, brilliant move for Green Bay. I mean, the 2 ones are significant. I'm But if you're a team that's trying to be aggressive, win now, obviously I'm a Michigan man. I love Rashawn Gary. He and Micah are going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. They're going to be a problem. And the rest of their draft choices that they've made in the past few years, they're hitting this aspect of their defense significantly. And obviously, if Josh Jacobs can have another terrific season running it, and Love can stay healthy best he can with these young receivers who, if they can be healthy, I mean, there's a lot of ifs. Green Bay is the Super Bowl contender. I mean, certainly with Micah Parsons. Now, the Packers fans will recall as well, Micah didn't do very much in that playoff game. And, you hear that a lot about it from Cowboys fans, that Micah has disappeared, if you will, in some spots in the playoffs in particular. We're waiting to see him come up with that monster game, and I'm sure Green Bay would love to see it. Maybe a change of scenery, maybe a change of opportunity, maybe just a change of everything is going to potentially spark that flame. But obviously, if Micah Parsons is available, you want to pay him. And you can just give up, obviously one Pro Bowl player and 2 future firsts on the outset of a playing season. What a coup! I mean, what an absolute coup for Green Bay. Excellent play, excellent strategy, and I think there's a lot of teams in the NFL might be a little jealous. The fact that Dallas traded him within the conference and to Green Bay, who, is going to Dallas in a month on a Sunday night. So I think the only other group of people more ecstatic than Packers fans right now are NBC sports executives for Sunday Night Football.
The great Rich Eisen, the host of the Rich Eisen Show, coming to ESPN Radio beginning Tuesday. You can hear it right here on ESPN Milwaukee, 12 to 2 p.m. each and every weekday beginning on Tuesday. Rich, I believe pressure creates diamonds, so bear with me for a moment.
Nice. That's a Dak phrase, by the way. That's a Dak phrase.
Well,
go ahead.
I'm going to talk about the other quarterback because I believe after this trade, Jordan Love is probably the quarterback with the most pressure on him in 2025 to succeed. Is that a fair critique?
Again, the way I view it on my show, one of my guys on the show who hopefully, again, if you're new to the Rich Eisen Show, you'll become familiar with my guys, Chris Brockman and T.J. Jefferson, who's a diehard Cowboy fan who has been trolled mercilessly by occasional Rich Eisen Show guest Carl Anthony Towns, who's a diehard Eagles fan, and he's already blowing up my phone on text with things that he wants me to show on tomorrow's show to T.J., and it's laugh out loud funny. But we talk about it, we argue about it all the time. Chris takes the point of view of what you just did, that a young quarterback who's been highly paid and needs to start showing some results that matches the contract that's been awarded to him, brings pressure. To me, the pressured quarterbacks are people like Aaron Rodgers or Russ Wilson, where they're at a certain stage of their career that if they don't perform, they're not going to be in the league anymore or potentially not a starter anymore. That's the pressure, I think. That's the ultimate, like your career is coming to an end. You only have a certain amount of time left to make an impression. Lamar Jackson, is he under pressure because his MVPs haven't brought the Ravens to the Super Bowl? I mean, he's going to still be the Ravens quarterback next year with an excellent opportunity to win it again. That's what I view as pressure. I don't know if Love, would feel it. Obviously, all quarterbacks are human beings, but honestly, like the Packers made the right move, right, by turning to Love, clearly, when they did. And I know that was yet another drama-filled, legendary first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback transition to first-round drafted quarterback who was waiting for his chance. I mean, that's a story literally as old as the last 3 decades in Wisconsin. But you just got to look at plays. You got to make the smart plays. Love is talented. He's extremely talented. You've got a terrific head coach who knows what to do with him. And you've got a mindset of let's run the crap out of the football and throw it to a bunch of young wide receivers that you don't know who's whose day it is, right? One day it's a Dobbs day, another day it's a Wicks day, another day it's a Reed day, another day, if he's healthy, it's a Watson day. Like you just don't know, right? And if the offensive line holds up, and now this defense can go sack the quarterback like this, making the back end of a defense better. These are all smart plays, and I just don't know what you mean by pressure, right? Like, I don't think LaFleur's getting fired. I don't think Love's getting cut, or they're going to start wondering if they made the wrong move. Last year, it's just unfortunate. Kid gets banged up in Brazil. That left a mark, and I just don't know how healthy he was the rest of the year. Just don't know. We don't know these things. So I think there's a bunch of other quarterbacks that have pressure. But it really depends on what your definition of pressure is.
Different than yours, I think. But I agree to disagree.
No, I know. And you have, but I'm not saying your definition is wrong. I totally understand where you're coming from. I mean, Dak's making $60 million a year. We're still waiting for the first Dallas Cowboy NFC Championship game appearance in 3 decades, and every Cowboy fan right now is thinking they're going to be waiting another year because Jerry just did this move for whatever his reasoning was, and we can go down the list. Justin Herbert's making a ton of money. Trevor Lawrence, Tua, these guys, have never won a playoff game, and Herbert's one playoff game, he was up by 27 points, right? And Trevor Lawrence did win that playoff game, so pardon me. But I think you're getting my drift here. Is that I understand. Purdy just got paid, right? Like, there's going to be tons of pressure on him, I understand. But if it doesn't happen this year, he's still got more years to go. That's just the way I view pressure. It might be wrong, but that's my opinion of it.
Rich, fans here in Wisconsin are already excited to have your show on our airwaves starting on September 2nd. So we're streaming live on YouTube, and we actually had a question come in for you, so I wanted to get to one of them.
Sure.
And it just says, Micah Parsons reportedly just recently sought a second opinion on his back. Anything to that? Asked Rich what he thinks. So I wanted to give you the floor. Any reason for reservation there?
None. 0.0. That was because he needed options to not show up and play and not have it cost him money or be fined. That was just game playing in terms of, okay, I was holding in, that didn't work. I demanded a trade, that didn't work. My back, that's the reason why I'm not practicing. And then the Cowboys this past weekend say, well, the MRI came back pretty clean. So his answer to that is, I need a second opinion. This is all just game playing of silliness to try and get something done. And at the end of the day, the Cowboys decided we're done. And that is, I think the Packers gain. Again, Kenny Clark's an excellent player, and the Cowboys, you really need him. But does that mean they needed to sacrifice Micah Parsons in order to shore up that position? I think the Cowboys will use that as a fig leaf. And maybe they deep down believe, Micah is the type of guy that might be an addition by subtraction because of whatever was going on behind the scenes. We just don't know, and that's going to be for Green Bay to deal with if that's something that needs to be dealt with at all. And again, for the Dallas point of view, I mean, just to mix sports up right now, as I'm sure I'm talking to a baseball-crazed audience for good reason.
Yep.
The San Francisco Giants were having a terrific year. The Red Sox were stinking on ice, and they traded away Rafael Devers, and everybody thought the Red Sox were insane, and the Giants were now the benefits of the largesse of a Red Sox team that didn't know what they were doing. Smash cut to today, and the fortunes have changed. You just never know. I'm not saying the Cowboys are definitely going to be better without Parsons. We just don't know what was going on behind the scenes. I proffer to say they will miss his pass rushing ability big time. You just don't have those types of players in the NFL and trade them away like they just did. And the Packers will truly enjoy watching him do his thing. And it was an excellent play, a smart move, one that really, again, 2 first-round picks, you'll miss them. When you're smoking them if you got them in the next draft in Pittsburgh and the one after that. But it won't matter if there's a trophy in the case. And certainly if it's going to be like pick 28 through 32, you won't matter.
Quote of the year right there. It won't matter if there's a trophy in the case. That's what we're talking about here, Rich.
True that. Hey, and
Titletown. I know I'm talking to Titletown. I understand what I'm talking to right now.
Rich, before I let you go, I'm just going to give you my diagnosis. I'm not a doctor, not that you needed that clarification on his back. We've all tweaked it while sleeping, right? We've all slept weird. Yeah. When he took that nap, heard around the world on the training table on Saturday, that's probably why he needed a second opinion. Just tweaked his back a little bit.
It could have been that, right?
It
or he was just bored, or just, again, he's 26 years old, The guy's 20. The guy, honestly, he's 26 years old. And he's never been through this, and I'm sure he was taking it personally, and I'm sure he was sick and tired of this whole thing. But again, the Packers are going to learn who they just hired and just paid a total boatload of money to. And again, I believe in your coach. I think he's terrific. And clearly the GM. I mean, what a move, right? I mean,
unbelievable.
I know. Trust me, I'm friends with lots of Packers fans. I sit next to Steve Mariucci on NFL Game Day morning, and I'm very well familiar with what the cheesehead folks think of their team or the narratives. Sometimes you wanted Ted Thompson to show they had a pulse, right? Like let's do something bold, do something un-Packers like, and man, they just did. But it was a smart play, a smart play. 2 firsts, and it doesn't cost you anything this year. You just swapped Kenny Clark for Micah Parsons.
That's a good way to look at it.
Basically what you just did for the 2025 season. Now you're going to roll him up and roll him right downhill against Jared Goff in a fat first game of the year, which you got to win.
Yeah.
You got to win that one.
Got it for the division.
Yeah, way to go. Again, with all due respect to Kenny Clark, you just traded him for Micah for the 2025 season, and the next ramification of the deal will be yours twice over when you're on the clock next April and the April after that. So I really think it's a smart play for the Green Bay Packers with a massive amount of upside, just a massive amount.
Micah Parsons, a Green Bay Packer, and Rich Eisen, a member of ESPN Milwaukee, beginning Tuesday, 12 to 2 p.m. You can hear him for the first time on Tuesday on The Rich Eisen Show. Rich, thanks so much for the time and taking some time on this busy night for you.